Hello viewers, welcome back to the most mobile auto repair channel, and today we're working on a 2010 Toyota Corolla with the 1.8 liter engine, and today we are going to be replacing the drive belt on this because the one that's currently on the vehicle is about to rip, and so we are going to be replacing it today. So a little bit of history on this vehicle. I believe the drive belt has been replaced sometime in 2015 or 2016, I think. So it's roughly close to 10 years old. So it's been well and long overdue. Uh, this particular Corolla has an aftermarket underdrive aluminum uh, pulley for the crankshaft. It's a bit smaller in size, so the drive belt needs to be smaller. So I cannot use the original belt that came with this vehicle. I think it works, but I'm not sure. But I think is better to use a slightly smaller belt. This particular one is Gates. Uh, it's a Fleet Runner belt, so it's a different type of belt. I think it's it's designed for vehicles that are always running all the time, non-stop. And so I believe that it's a higher quality belt that is supposedly supposed to last longer. There is a Gates belt that's currently on this vehicle. And so this one, you can see here, it says 6PK 1197. So the 6 is a 6 ribbed belt. 1197 is the length in millimeters. And on this particular vehicle, you may get different variation sizes in millimeters. Usually for the aftermarkets, I have seen like 1220 to 1230 millimeters in length. This one is 1197, so it's a slightly shorter belt. So it's this one is supposedly supposed to fit on this vehicle. So anyhow, we are just going to take the cover off out of the way so we can have a good look at this. And you can see that the belt, you can see over here, there are heavy marks here. It's ripped. So this belt is about to rip in no time. So that's the reason why we are replacing it today. Now, on today's EPDM belts, they are inspected differently. You have to use a special tool to check for wear in between the ribs. I'm not going to be showing that today. This is supposed to be a quick replacement video, but I do have other videos discussing about it. So anyhow, most belts today, you cannot just inspect them for only for cracks, because that doesn't necessarily apply for today's drive belts. There's a special way to check them. So I will post a video, a separate video, in which I explained in detail on how to check them. So I'll post a link in the corner of the screen if you want to watch that. So anyhow, we are going to be replacing this one. So now, in order to remove this belt, we need to remove the mounting bolts. There's a 14 millimeter at the bottom on the alternator, and a 12 millimeter for the pivot bolt, and a 12 mil here for the adjustment. This one has a manual tensioner on it, so there is no automatic tensioner on this. It's manually adjusted. So what we are going to do is take a 14 millimeter deep socket and a ratchet, and loosen up the bolt for the alternator at the bottom. and then switch to a 12 millimeter. Loosen that. One thing I forgot to mention is to make sure that you draw yourself a belt routing diagram so you know on where the belt goes on the pulleys before you take off the belt. So now we are going to loosen up the adjustment. It's a 12 millimeter. You should be able to push this towards you and remove the belt. So I'm just having a look at the belt now. You can see how it's very close to ripping and shredding apart, causing a catastrophic failure. I don't see this too often, but it does happen. This belt has been in service for a ridiculously long time, and plus, this is my personal vehicle, so I drive at higher RPM. Uh, in my personal opinion, this vehicle is severely underpowered, or somewhat underpowered. It's okay, but it's not enough power for me. So that's why I'm always driving in higher RPM to accelerate, especially on the highway. So anyhow, we are going to be replacing this one. Just a closer look at this. It's pretty dang bad. So even with this belt, you don't really see cracking too much with these belts. You have to inspect them in between the ribs. They pretty much they wear down like tires. So you need to check for material loss. There's a special tool to check them. So this is the new belt. Make sure you compare the length and the number of ribs and everything. Just make sure that they are the same. You can see the difference between this one and this one. This one, the grooves are severely worn out. This one, they're not as deep as the old one. There's a big difference there. You can easily eyeball that. So now we need to fish the belt through. You can easily do it underneath the hood without too much difficulties. One other thing I wanted to mention to you is to inspect the pulleys, any noises or roughness or play in the pulleys. Make sure everything is okay before you install the new belt. So usually I start off at the crank pulley at the very end first, and I try to hold the belt up to give it some attention so it doesn't come off. And then at the end, I just slide it over the water pump pulley last, the smooth pulley, because that's the easiest way to do it. So just make sure the belt are riding perfectly on all of the pulleys. And that should be it. And then you can push the alternator this way just to confirm that everything is in, and then you can tighten up the adjustment bolt. Just make sure the belt are sitting properly on all of the pulleys before you start to tighten up the bolts. So on a new belt, you need to make sure it's tight enough, but not too tight, so there isn't uh, a, enough deflection in the belt. Usually, a good rule of thumb is maybe half an inch of deflection, but on some cars, it's a little bit less, and some a little bit more. There is a specification, but you will need to look it up. And on the technical side, they do have a special tool in which you can put on the belt to measure the tension. They call it a tension gauge. And a good rule of thumb is 30 pounds per rib. So this is a six rib belt. So 6 times 30 is 180 pounds. So this would should have 180 pounds of force of tension on it uh, in order for it to be tight. And so I do have it here, but I'm not going to show that today because this is supposed to be a quick and brief video. Most guys do just is tighten it up, and that should be fine. So we are going to tighten it up. And as you tighten it down, you should feel it here to see if there's much tension on the belt. So I'm going to keep on tightening it and see if there's tension. It should be tight right now. It's loose. Shouldn't be extremely tight, but tight enough. And push down in the middle, see if there's a little bit of deflection. You should be able to turn the belt a little bit. And you need to take note that on new belts, you need to run them between maybe uh, 5 or 10 minutes or something to let it to wear in, and then you need to recheck the tension again just to make sure. Otherwise, the belt is going to squeal and stuff. So uh, some guys sometimes they make it really tight, and then that's it. But you need to double check it. You need to tighten it, run the vehicle for at least a minimum of 5 minutes or so, or 10 minutes, and recheck the tension. So just making sure it's tight. We're going to tighten it up a bit more. And once you feel that the belt is tight enough, you can proceed to tighten up all of the mounting bolts. So tighten the pivot bolt down now. It's also a 12 millimeter. I'll post the torque specs for the mounting bolts if you want to torque them, or just tighten it down snug, and then you should be okay. They don't need to be tightened all that much, and tighten down the 14 millimeter bolt. And that should be good. Just going to verify that it's tight before I start the vehicle. It should be okay. And verify that the belts are tight and that they are on the pulleys properly and that they are not riding on the edges of the pulleys. Otherwise, it's going to destroy the belt. And so now I'm going to start the vehicle. So now you want to run this vehicle for about 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes. Double check the tension, and if it's okay, you can leave it alone. If not, then readjust it, and then that should be it. So once the vehicle has been ran for approximately 5 to 10 minutes, double check the tension, see if you need to readjust it. If not, and then you're all good. You just reinstall the cover, and then you're all good to go. So you can see on the old belt, it was also the same exact type gates, the micro V belt. 6PK 1197, the same exact one, made in USA. So the other one, it's they call it a fleet runner belt. I've never used it before, but I just wanted to try it out and see if it's any better than the conventional belts. So I don't know anything or too much about these. It says provide the longest life on the most demanding applications while offering the lowest cost per mile. So it's probably just another type style of belts, like maybe like a heavy duty belt. That's why it says HD on it. So I don't know, but we'll see how long this one goes for and just go from there. Usually I just use a regular dry belt from the part store, and that's typically good. Either Gates or Continental, or you can use the original belt from the manufacturer, in this case Toyota. I think Toyota uses Bando belts as their supplier, and so those belts are also good and decent. So it doesn't really matter. A lot of most reputable belt companies are pretty decent, so it doesn't really matter too much. But that's it. So that's going to conclude this video of the drive belt replacement on this 2010 Toyota Corolla. That's it for today. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please don't forget to give it a like, and please consider subscribing to my channel if you're not already a subscriber. And please don't forget to hit that bell notification if you haven't done so. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good day and take care.